So if your head looks like any of these images, if your head looks like this, or even this, then you probably have acne keloidalis nuchae. What is that in layman's terms? Barber bumps, ingrown hairs, Nestle crunch, Mars bar head, whatever you want to call it, you probably have that. Now, a lot of people who follow this channel send me loads of emails, and I always get the same question: how bad is my AKN? Is my AKN fixable? When I'm referring to AKN, by the way, it's acne keloidalis nuchae. I just like to say AKN because it's just easier than saying that whole word every single time. Alright, before I jump into anything, before I jump into this tier list, I want you guys to know that I am not a doctor. I am not a healthcare professional, and if you have severe AKN, then I recommend going to a dermatologist or going to a doctor to take a look at it. But I have been through this myself, and the reason this channel exists is because a lot of guys don't know where to go to because they go to the doctors and they misdiagnose them. Let's be honest, they probably got misdiagnosed. That's probably why you're on YouTube. But I have to say this before I jump into this and say I'm not a doctor, and you should always seek medical and professional advice. Now, let's jump into the tier list. So let's start with the best case scenario for your AKN. So this is where my AKN currently is as well. So we're going to put this straight into S rank, right? So I want to start with the best case scenario, then we're going to work our way down to like the worst, which is D. So our S rank is going to be basically this. So as you can see, with my AKN, there isn't too much of a flare up anymore. I do have a lot of scars because you will be able to see the progression as I go through the ranks. I might not do them in order, but you'll be able to see like the progression that I've personally had. I'm gonna have some other images on the internet of other people's AKN, but as you can see, my head is pretty clear right now. I do have a lot of scarring which leave dark marks, which is one of the worst parts of having AKN in general. But man, that's just the way it goes, honestly. But this is the best case scenario, and for me to get to this point, it's taken me a couple of years. Let's just keeping it 100. It's taken me a couple of years to get to this stage of AKN in general. So this would also be in S rank. So this is going straight into S rank, and that looks like this. As you can see, a lot of guys who go to the barbers for the first time and get like a head infection or whatever, this is genuinely how their AKN looks. So when I see a lot of guys with this and they'll post in Reddit or whatnot like, oh, I've got really bad bumps at the back of my head, obviously compared to how your head normally looks, this is bad. But genuinely, because of how easy this is to get rid of, like say you're using the barber bumps kit or any other routine that I've showed you on this channel in the past, you can get rid of this in like a week, in my opinion. As you can see, like they're just really little spots, and I'm telling you guys, genuinely, this is the best time to treat your AKN, is when it looks like this, genuinely. So when you've got AKN that's not as severe and it's looking like this, bro, this is a blessing in itself, because sometimes my AKN still flares up looking like this a tiny bit, but yeah, this is a good baseline. This is straight S rank for sure. Okay, quick pause. If you're suffering from barber bumps, then head over to barberbumps.com. You can pick up serums, soaps, antiseptics, and you can basically treat your barber bumps, because it's something that I use on the daily. So if you guys have barber bumps and you're interested in treatments, head over to their website and buy a kit now. So for the next one, it's probably going to be this one here. So this is probably around A rank, I guess. The reason why this would be A rank to me is because the bumps are a little bit bigger, they're closer together, and usually when you get bumps like this at the nape of your neck, it's a little bit tougher to get rid of when it's in a massive cluster like this. Because the first time I got bumps that looked like this was when I used to go to the barbers frequently, and you know, for the most part this comes from dirty clippers. And yeah, because you can see it's around the nape of the neck. It's probably around the other side of his neck as well, because it usually comes in clusters. When I used to get it like this, it was a little bit more difficult to get rid of. That's why I definitely rank this in A rank for sure, because it's not the worst thing in the world, and a cluster like this you can get rid of this like relatively easy, being honest. So easy A rank, this one. So another A rank would be this one for sure. This one's probably gonna be in front of this, and it looks like this. As you can see, it's basically like very similar to the last one, but you can see he's got it all around his neck, and it's moving to the side of his head, and it's just spread out a little bit more. So basically this is what it would look like if you don't treat the previous bumps. Really, they just spread massively, and I feel like he's just got a worse case of this rash, because this first one here is bad obviously, but this is what happens when you don't treat that, or you just got a worse infection, to be fair. So it'd still be A rank, because these can be solved easily by also fixing your diet and just making sure that your clippers are clean, you're sleeping on clean bed sheets, and you're using a barber bumps kit, or just the same stuff as S rank really. It just looks visually worse in my opinion. So yeah, that's definitely an A rank as well. So this is going to be the first one that's going to be in B rank. So we're progressively getting worse. So this is a good example of like a low B rank. The reason why is because on this you can see that the papules on the back of his head, I think that's the technical term for this kind of stuff, called papules. As you can see, like they're a lot bigger and they're clustering together a lot more. And when you have stuff like this, then that means that if you don't take care of this, then you're gonna go only deeper and deeper into the AKN void, that you could call it, because when you start seeing the areas of the back of the neck get darker as well, these will likely start to hurt, and they're only gonna get like physically harder as well, which isn't a nice thing. We've got worse ones in this, but this is like the entry point into like this becoming a lot more difficult to treat and a lot more serious. Okay, so the next one on B rank is gonna be this one. You might be thinking to yourself like, oh wow, that actually doesn't look as bad as the last one. But in my experience, this is how my AKN used to look as well. One of the main reasons I feel like this is more difficult to get rid of than say this last one that we had is because when your AKN starts to clump together like this, it can only take like one irritation to the back of your head for these to start like clumping up and looking more like a keloid. That's one of the worst places you can be, because when they start clumping up is when you start to get more issues. And this is, as you can see, like this area is like very dark around where the spots are. So that's a clear sign that even though he doesn't have as many clumps as this guy, the AKN in this area, especially when mine was at this stage, it goes 0 to 100. It goes from this to like clumps of AKN real quick. So that's definitely a higher B tier for sure. So this is again a higher rank of B tier. This could probably be thrown into C tier, to be fair. But I genuinely think, as I mentioned with the clumps of AKN joining together, this is a good example of that happening. So we're gonna put that basically here. As you can see, what I mentioned before is clear. As you can see those bumps joining together, this is a second step of the clumping, because the closer they are together, the more that they're joining together. And when you have pustules are joining together, that becomes very problematic. If you guys want to see, like, if this also helps, there's this chart that I'm going to put in the description as well. It tells you the classification of your lesion distribution for AKN. And as you can see, the more clumped they are together, the more severe they are. So you go from A to B. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of like clumping together is always worse than having little individual bumps everywhere. So this is why this is definitely upper B tier. So this is going to be our first C tier, and this is actually my head. This was me a while back, and as you can see, this is where it starts to get really bad. As you can see here, that we've got very similar clustering and merging of the AKN, but you can see that it's getting extremely red. Yeah, I just really didn't know what to do at this stage when the back of my head was like this, because This was really bad. I was wearing like caps everywhere during this period. I wasn't going out too much. As you can see my mouse there. I was just like chilling on the computer like all day. It was easier just to sit inside. So when you get to this level, your self-esteem is hit hard. So this is definitely a C tier for sure. I forgot to add these ones, but these two here are actually going to be these are both going to be higher B tiers as well. So this one, we're going to move this into a higher B tier, and which is this one here. As you can see, as I mentioned, when you have individual spots like this, it's not the worst case to be in, but as you can see, like the area is getting darker for this guy. This is very, very treatable, and I think it's still in a spot where I feel like this is what you see on most guys when they talk about their AKN, because they've left it for a while. It visually looks really bad, but I think this is it's still at a good state of being treatable, but it's still in the upper B rank tiers. This one as well, this is also me. This is going to go around here. So this is around mid range of B tier, to be fair. As you can see, this, as I mentioned, this is a good example of the area getting darker. When the area is getting darker, the spots start to fuse together. And yeah, you can see this is also red and it's irritated. I missed these two out, but this one and this one are definitely in B tier. So before we dive into the more serious cases, I want you guys to know, if you see that your AKN is in like the D rank or whatever, it's okay, it's treatable as well, because I've got an example in here where my AKN's at D and I'm in S tier now. Do you know what I mean? So I've made a massive progression, massive life changes to be able to get from D rank to S rank. So I'm gonna show that first. I'm gonna show my D rank AKN just to make you guys feel better if you see any examples of AKN that looks like yours. So for the more severe cases, as I mentioned, this is the first one, which is my head. I've showed this on my channel a few times. So this is how my scalp basically looked like, and as you can see, this is pretty severe. I can't remember what year this is again, but my sister took this photo for me. And as you can see, all the pustules here are all merged together. It's affecting my whole head. I've got spots here and it just looks extremely terrible. That's why I had to tell you guys previously, like, this was my head. And now the first image that I showed you, this here is in S rank. So I've gone from S rank, from D rank to S. So you can see the progression that I've genuinely made. So if you see any AKN that looks like yours, it's okay. There's loads of things you can do. There's a barber bumps kit that you can use and you can buy. So you're all good. So we are now reaching the later stages of AKN. So this one here would also be in D rank. The reason why is because, as you can see, this is a great example of having the spots and the pustules at the back of like your head combined together to basically look like keloids. I feel like when your scalp looks like this with AKN, there's no way around you not having like scars after, because when they form up in a keloid formation like this, if you look at this chart again, as you can see, it starts to become a plaque. So when it starts to become a plaque, then you can get rid of it, but so it's just gonna still look clumped together. So even when it heals, there might not be hair growth in this area anymore. So you might have to change your complete hairstyle. Because for me, I shaved the whole back of my head because I had pustules that looked like this. So they were quite clumped up together. So when it healed and there's no more bumps in that area, it's basically like there's no hair growth in that area as well. So when your AKN reaches this level, as I mentioned, I got rid of mine. Like, you see my S rank to D rank, but the reality is there's probably not going to be hair growth in this area anymore. So you're going to have to definitely change your haircut when you're getting to this this level. So these are the last three, and these are basically the most severe ones. These are quite interchangeable, because if we take a look at this one, for example, this first one, this is like a really bad case, because as you can see, he's got extremely clumped up areas of AKN. Now, when your AKN gets to this level, there's no cream and there's no antiseptic or whatever that can treat it at this level, because it's basically become a massive keloid. And these AKN symptoms basically aren't active anymore from my knowledge. It's just that this area just becomes a keloid in itself. And you know, even this is going to be at a stage where this guy is going to need surgery to get it removed. And the worst thing about things like this, especially when they turn into a keloid form, is that they might come back. So if you're at this stage of your AKN, this is these like most severe case of AKN. As you can see, it's clumped up massively and it's become a keloid. That is definitely at the highest tier of D rank currently. So for our final two, we've got this one and we've got this one. So for this one in particular, one of the worst things about like having AKN when it's at this point is that when it looks like this, you can see hair growing out of it. It's not very active and it's just a huge clump. If we take a look at this classification again, this is where we're reaching a tumorous mass. And genuinely, when your AKN looks like this, like a tumorous mass like this, then the only solution is going to be surgery. The reason why is because, like the previous one, this is just a more severe case of it clumping up massively. So that's why I'm saying, like, in this whole video, what I'm trying to say is, when you start with something that looks very small like this, and then it can become something that looks like anything in the D class, that means you should try and treat your AKN as soon as possible. I hope this video helps not just the people that email me, but also the people who are genuinely interested to see where their AKN is. Obviously, like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm not a doctor. Go see someone if it's something that's bothering you massively, but try your best to treat your AKN as soon as possible. So before I end this video, remember to like, subscribe, because we've just hit 1,000 subscribers. I'd like to say thank you so much to all you guys for supporting this channel, for subscribing, for watching, and we've got so much more. I've got so many videos coming this year, and my goal is to hit 20 to 30,000 subscribers, and I think we can do that. So remember to, if you're a new watcher, remember to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.